everyone, it's Pam here with my monthly update video to tell you everything that I was up to in the month of February. Hopefully you can't hear the wind. We are having some weather here. So starting with updates, the only podcast I was on this past month was my own. We put out 2 episodes. The first one was with our guest Yusuf Cole, and we talked about the movie Arrival. It was a really fun episode. We talked all about the movie and the design of the aliens in it and the importance of language, and I think it was a really fun and sort of insightful conversation, and it was a very good time. And the second episode that came out in February was just myself and Riley. We talked about what we've been up to as per usual, and we answered questions from listeners. We got some really great questions. We spent some time talking about advice we have for new creators, whether that's podcasters or video makers or even streamers. And we also spent some time talking about our favorite indie games. So my shout out for this month is a channel that I've mentioned on here before but haven't given an official shout out to. So today I want to shout out Flock of Nerds. And Flock of Nerds is mainly run by Miles and Catherine. They put out gameplay videos which are a lot of fun. They play through a game together and they do commentary on it together. And one thing I really like about them is that they are very well edited. So it's not just, a 2-hour video of every second of gameplay. They really, cut and slice and dice it and give you the best game footage and the most interesting and funny commentary they have on it. So while I'm not generally a Let's Play fan, their game videos are really enjoyable because they're sort of nice and concise and very well edited. They also put on their channel their podcast, which is called Flock Talk. And I've become a big fan of this podcast recently. It's fairly new. It's just a monthly podcast. I think they've done either 4 or 5 episodes so far, and it's really great. Usually when you start something new, whether it's podcast or videos, it's sort of a rough start while you're learning, but they got good really fast. Their friend Chris joins them on the podcast, so it's the 3 of them talking, and they talk about what they've been up to, what games they've been playing, and then each episode has a topic of discussion. The most recent one was sports, and I'm not generally a sports game fan, but I still really enjoyed the episode of the podcast. So if you're into well-edited and well-done co-op Let's Play videos, or if you're looking for a new podcast to listen to, check out Flock of Nerds. So as for pickups this month, there's not a ton as far as games are concerned. This one obviously isn't a game, but the next Media Mavens we do is going to be on Alien and Aliens. So I picked up the Blu-ray box set, which is gorgeous. It's like all nice and holographic. And then what I really like is that it's a little book inside. So you've got all your discs like in pages, and then it's got some nice artwork and stuff too. So I'm happy to have this because while I've seen all the Alien movies, I have never owned them before. Another thing which isn't physical, but Planescape Tides of Numenera came out just yesterday as I'm recording this, and I've been waiting for this game for a few years. I backed it on Kickstarter, so I didn't play the early access. I didn't want to play the demo or the first act or anything, so I just got my hands on it yesterday, and so far I'm really liking it. The writing is fantastic, which is really the cornerstone of a Torment game. There's a lot of reading to do, but the world building and everything is just so interesting that I will read the 100,000 words or whatever it is in the game. So I haven't gotten too far in that, but I am super excited to finally have that. And then the last thing is that this past week, Will decided that we needed a PSVR. So now we have one of those. Here's a headset. So I've played a few VR games as we got that. It came with a couple demos and things. One thing that's pretty interesting is this Until Dawn Rush of Blood, which I love Until Dawn. And this is like a haunted house rail shooter, and it's very, very scary. Will has been playing it, and there's a lot of jump scares, and I laugh at him when he jumps at them, but I do not want to play this myself. I put on the helmet for like 3 minutes, and then I was like, nope, 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 nope. I don't want to play this. It's too scary. So I haven't played much of Rush of Blood. Instead, I played this PlayStation VR Worlds, which is more of a tech demo than actual games for the most part. There was one I really liked, which was a shark attack. So you go down into the ocean and you descend in the shark tank, and you can just like look all around you, and there are sea turtles and jellyfish, and then eventually the shark comes and attacks the cage, and I really like that a lot better. I also picked up the Arkham VR Batman game, which didn't really do much for me. First of all, immediately when the game starts, can you guess what happens? Oh, Batman's parents get shot? Oh, you have to watch that in first person in VR? I actually knew what was coming. I saw, like, oh, we're in an alley. There's a woman with pearls standing in front of me, and I just, like, did a 180. I was like, nope, I'm not taking part in this. But my biggest problem with the game is that it uses, like, a click to move kind of thing. So it's not like you can free roam. You have to, like, pick a point on the screen and move there, and then from there you can look around, but I wasn't really keen on the controls, though apparently it's a very short game, so I'll try to finish it off. But in general, what I found with the VR is that I like more experiences than games. Like, I don't have much of a desire to shoot people in VR, or move around in VR. For me, it works best when it is something that's on rails, where you're just able to like look around and see things you wouldn't otherwise see. Like, for me, going down into the ocean or going up into space would be sort of my my preferred VR experiences, as opposed to something super gamey. So we'll see how I like the VR as time goes on. What I've been playing other than the VR games, I just finished a theme park sim game on the PS2, which is going to be my next review. Should be out shortly. I just recorded the on-camera stuff before this. I've also just finished Rayman Origins, which was really good, although at the end it was brutally difficult. I think I've mentioned before that Rayman is my favorite platformer series, and it starts off so colorful and whimsical and happy, and it's like that through the whole game, but there are these levels that are all sort of like gauntlet time-based levels where you have to run and get to things in time, otherwise they move and you don't have enough room and you die. And on the very last level, it was a 3-part stage, and the first part was a boss rush, which I didn't have a problem with. The third part was like a horizontal shooter on the mosquito. Again, didn't have a problem with that. But the second part was one of those like endless running timing things, and the timing was so precise, and part of me can appreciate how well designed that level was to make it so precise, and the other part of me attempted it more than 100 times before I finally got it and got really frustrated. But I did finally finish Rayman Origins. I do recommend it, as long as you are either better at platforming than me or patient. Another thing, I just started playing Yakuza 0. I had not played any of the Yakuza games before, but I thought I would give this one a try. I am not too far into it. I've just finished Kiryu's first chapter or whatever it is, but it's really fun so far. The combat's good. Everything is very sort of flashy and overdone. I think it's 80s Japan, which is very, neon and things, and the karaoke is awesome. I would like to do much more karaoke in that game as soon as I have time to do that. And the last big thing I played that I wanted to talk about was Day of the Tentacle. I had never played that before. I had only played Maniac Mansion, so I picked up the remastered version on Steam. And although I did not play with the remastered graphics because I found the UI on the remaster was just atrocious. So I switched back to the original graphics, the original UI, which is just like the standard Lucasfilm commands in the bottom left of the screen. I enjoyed the game. It was quite funny. It was very challenging because there's like 3 different time periods and you have to send items back and forth through them to each character. So it was quite difficult, but I'm glad to have finally crossed that off of my list of games to play. And I think that's it for my February update. Let me know in the comments what you were up to last month, what games you played, anything in particular you enjoyed. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.